You're sitting on your couch, watching a YouTube video, a Twitch stream, maybe a podcast. You've never met the person speaking. They don't know you exist, but somehow you feel like you know them. Their quirks are familiar. Their opinions resonate. When they're excited, you feel it. When they cry, you choke up. It's like you're in a friendship, except it's one-sided. That's the heart of a parasocial relationship. A bond that feels personal and emotional, even though it exists entirely through a screen. It's not new. Psychologists have been studying parasocial interactions since the 1950s, when people began forming attachments to radio hosts and TV anchors. But in today's digital world, where creators live stream from their bedrooms and post daily vlogs, the line between celebrity and friend has become blurrier than ever. So let's break it down. Why do we get emotionally attached to people we've never met? Why does it feel so real? And how does your brain process something that's one-sided but still deeply meaningful? First, let's talk about how your brain handles relationships. As humans, we're wired to form social connections. It's part of our evolutionary survival. Thousands of years ago, being part of a group meant safety, food, protection. Our brains develop mechanisms to bond with others, like releasing oxytocin when we interact socially, or activating reward circuits when we feel seen or understood. And here's the thing, your brain doesn't always distinguish between real life and mediated interaction. When you watch someone speak directly to a camera, your brain processes it in a surprisingly similar way to an actual face-to-face conversation. That's because we're incredibly responsive to human cues, tone of voice, facial expressions, eye contact. Even if we consciously know someone on YouTube isn't talking to us specifically, our subconscious brain treats it as a social input. This is called a parasocial interaction, a moment where we engage with a media figure as though it were reciprocal. Now, when these interactions happen repeatedly, over time, they build into a parasocial relationship. You watch the same creator week after week. You learn their backstory. You know their dog's name, their favorite snacks, their childhood trauma. And just like with a real-life friend, that accumulation of shared experience creates emotional intimacy, even though the sharing is entirely one-sided. But this isn't just about YouTubers and influencers. Think about how many people cried when a favorite character died on a TV show, or how people rally emotionally around public figures during scandals or tragedies. We develop attachments to these personalities, even if they're fictional, because our brains are built to connect. And in the digital age, the illusion of intimacy is stronger than ever. Social media makes people seem accessible. A TikToker might share their lunch, their heartbreak, their therapy session, all in a 60-second clip. We're not just seeing curated, polished versions of celebrities anymore. We're seeing people just like us, in their bedrooms, in their sweatpants, being vulnerable. That authenticity, or perceived authenticity, creates trust, and trust breeds connection. There's also the frequency of exposure. The mere exposure effect is a psychological principle that says the more you're exposed to something, the more you tend to like it. So the more often you see a person online, the more familiar and likable they become. That's why daily vloggers or streamers often feel like close friends. Your brain interprets the consistency as a real, stable relationship. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Parasocial relationships can trigger real emotional responses. When your favorite creator announces they're taking a break, you might feel sad. If they get into a scandal, you might feel betrayed. If they get married, you might feel joy. These aren't fake feelings. They're rooted in the same neural and emotional pathways that fuel real-life relationships. So, if parasocial relationships feel so real, are they bad? Not necessarily. In fact, research shows they can be healthy. For people who are lonely, socially anxious, or isolated, parasocial connections can provide comfort and a sense of belonging. Watching your favorite streamer every night can feel like a safe ritual. Listening to the same podcast host every morning might feel grounding. These connections can even help people explore identity, values, and emotional regulation, much like real friendships. Parasocial bonds can also play a role in shaping beliefs and behaviors. If a creator you trust talks about mental health, body image, or social justice, you might be more open to those ideas. That influence isn't inherently bad. In some cases, it can be inspiring or educational. but it does highlight how powerful those bonds can be. Now, of course, parasocial relationships have their downsides too. One major risk is blurred boundaries. Because viewers feel close to creators, they might overstep. They might expect replies to every DM or feel entitled to access personal details. This can lead to parasocial breakups, moments when a creator sets a boundary, disappoints a fan, or simply doesn't respond, and the fan feels hurt or rejected even though there was no actual two-way relationship to begin with. There's also the danger of emotional dependency. If someone relies too heavily on parasocial relationships and doesn't cultivate real-life support systems, it can lead to isolation or distorted views of intimacy. Some people may avoid conflict or vulnerability in real life, preferring the safety of one-sided bonds that can't reject or challenge them. Another issue is the illusion of mutuality. Some creators blur the line intentionally, calling fans friends or family, giving shoutouts, responding to comments. While that can build community, it can also reinforce the illusion that the relationship is reciprocal, when in reality it's performative. That illusion can create unrealistic expectations and emotional confusion. And there's the ethical side. Influencers, streamers, and public figures profit from parasocial engagement. That's not inherently wrong. Many provide real value, entertainment, and comfort. But it does raise questions. If a creator knows you feel emotionally close to them, are they responsible for how they use that bond? Should they be more transparent about the boundary between content and connection? So, where does that leave us? The truth is, parasocial relationships are part of how we navigate the modern world. We're more connected than ever, but not always in reciprocal ways. Our brains haven't evolved past needing connections, so they adapt. They latch on to what's available, and sometimes what's available is a screen. But the key is awareness. Knowing that a parasocial relationship is one-sided doesn't make it meaningless, it just means it should be balanced. It's okay to feel emotionally connected to a creator or character. It's okay to cry when they cry, or cheer when they win. But it's also important to invest in real-life relationships, the messy, complicated, vulnerable ones that grow and change. Because while parasocial bonds can offer comfort, identity, and even joy, they aren't a substitute for mutual connection. They're a supplement, a mirror, a story you're invited into, but not a character in. So next time you find yourself emotionally invested in someone you've never met, take a moment. Ask yourself, what are you getting from this connection? Is it inspiring, comforting, or is it filling a gap that needs something more? Your brain might not always know the difference, but you can. And if you enjoy content like this, diving into the psychology of how your mind works or how we connect with the world, make sure to subscribe to the channel. There's plenty more coming your way, and if you're watching on Instagram or TikTok, follow for more quick dives into strange brain stuff. You'll be surprised how much of yourself you'll recognize in it.